Well, joining us to discuss this is a lecturer of politics and international relations at the Liverpool Hope University, Dr. Bola Adediran. Glad to have you join us on The World Now.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, we could see the UN Security Council spokesperson, John Kirby, saying the word genocide is being thrown around inappropriately against Israel. Do you think this will, sway public opinion in their favor?
No, and John Kirby is being disingenuous by not acknowledging the fact that the October 7 attack, prior to the October 7 attack, Palestinians can also claim the same thing. They could actually claim that they have been ethnically cleansed of their own land. And by the land, I mean 1948 agreed United Nations brokered division of the territory between Palestinians and Israelis. The land that the United Nations gave to the Palestinians. Over and over again, we've seen successive Israeli governments build and expand and extend their territories into those lands for security stakes. So you could claim, if we're getting into the semantics of this, that Palestinians have been ethnically cleansed of their land for so long. But I think that that's not the debate here. The debate for a lot of people is not what Hamas purports to say. The debate is whether, in responding to the Hamas terrorist threat, whether Palestinians should be collectively punished. And I think that that's the issue here. It is not a question of whether the statements about Hamas should not be condemned, or that Hamas should not be eliminated. The debate here specifically is whether the rest of the Palestinian people should be punished in an attempt to get to Hamas.
Well, Hamas says they are close to reaching a truce with Israel. Should we be positive about, both parties reaching an agreement despite the Prime Minister's statement saying that the fighting will continue until all hostages are released?
I think it's a great news. It is good news for both Palestinians and Israelis. For the Israelis, since October 7, 240 Israelis have been in custody, have been taken hostage by both Hamas group and the Palestine Islamic Jihad, the PIJ. And so this deal obviously is good news because it allows for these victims, Israeli victims, to reunite with their family. But it is also good news on the part of the Palestinians because I think this deal also includes that Palestinian women and children will be released as part of the deal and the truce. And in addition to that, there will also be a form of respite for Palestinians as there is a call for peace and ceasefire and truce for a short period. So as an individual looking and watching the events, I am very hopeful and I'm hoping that this deal obviously goes ahead. Obviously, there are still concerns that deals like this can always collapse at any period because on one hand, whilst these negotiations are happening in Qatar, there is still the likelihood that this deal has to be palatable to the military commanders in Gaza, the Palestinians, the Hamas leaders and the PIJ leaders holding the hostages. So unless the political agreement that is reached is palatable to those, there is always a risk that the deal can collapse anytime.
Let's also talk about humanitarian aid to besieged persons at this time. The agreement is expected to call for the release of about 50 women in exchange for a 4 to 5 day pause in fighting. How would this time, frame hastening the humanitarian effort to besieged persons in affected regions?
Oh, I think it's going to do a great deal of relief to the humanitarian situation in Gaza at the moment. As you have said and you've shown in many of your reports in the past, not only Palestinian children are constantly under attack, not in the hospitals, in the different refugee camps, and so this truce allows for family to find respite, for the hospitals to to gain the kind of to get the needed respite to find another opportunity to respond to the emergency that is currently on the way in Palestine at the moment. So it is obviously a good deal for the Palestinians, who are going to be looking forward to a period of truce, a period of ceasefire, and an opportunity to either get out into places where they could find shelter away from the bombardment and the risk of being targeted by Israeli armed forces. But generally, it's also for an opportunity for the doctors to not continually get injured and injured individuals into the hospitals that are currently overrun.
All right, a lecturer of politics and international relations at the Liverpool Hope University, Dr. Bola Adeduran, talking to us live from the United Kingdom. Thank you for speaking with us on The World Now.
Thank you for having me.